In case you're wondering and don't know, I'm Bob. That's Leon.
And I'm Leon, yeah. I'm not KG, okay? I'm Leon, all right? All right.
Leon, as you know, former NBA basketball player and world champion Boston Celtic.
Yes. Oh, come on, man. Yeah.
Current Celtics community ambassador.
Yes.
A published novelist.
Of course, go pick it up.
And father of a 1-month-old.
Yes.
One of his 2 children. So congratulations, Leon.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's part of the story today. But I want to begin with the story of your early life and some of the challenges that Callie referenced in our introduction.
Yes.
Take us back to Oakland, California, and how homelessness in particular resonates with your own experience.
Yeah, growing up in Oakland, tough experience. My family, we really didn't have much, but we try to make the best at, how we can do it. We just went about that way. And, we had 2 kids, a single parent household, and tragedy struck early. And, my mom's lost her job, and we tried to get by, but with the local churches, and giving us stuff, handouts. But, we had to make a change, and it was difficult. Sometimes I had to stay home from school to watch my little brothers and sisters and miss, my education. But my mom did all she could. God bless her soul. She did all she could to put food on the table. And when tragedy struck, we didn't have nowhere to go. We had nowhere to go. And when our place burned down, and y'all get this for a second. Our place burned down, we was on a waiting list in Oakland. It was a waiting list. I don't know if they got it now. They might have it, Section 8, and it was a waiting list. We was on there for a very long time. I don't know, I think it was like 9 or 10 years. We ended up getting the place, and then the place burned down of unfortunate situation. And we went back and they said, well, we need some type of housing and we need it ASAP, like quick. And they said, no, we can't help you. You gotta get back in the back of the line. And I said, we got kids, we got my mom's out there, me. It was like, what is going on? Get in the back of the line. And they said, yes, and we can't do nothing else for you. So then we had to transition from there to a homeless shelter. In Miami, you transition from there to a homeless shelter. We got kids, and it's with men, women, it's all mixed. It's all chaotic and things like that, and it's a time limit on there. And that's what why I really wanted to come here today is explain to y'all, like, y'all doing a great thing for showing up. And what Pine Street does is they don't put no time limits on that. And can we get a round of applause for that? There's no time limits. Because when you put time limits on things like that, that's something that crucial and life-changing. You force the parents, the kids to grow up fast and try to find out something quick, cheap, easy. And what quick, cheap, and easy leads to nothing but bad decisions.
You tell us a little bit about the experience having to stay home, missing parts of your education, your mom's struggle, going to the back of the line. How did that affect the person you are today, and in particular for those of us who've been on the outside looking at the homelessness issue? What's important for us to understand about what it's like to be in that struggle day to day?
Yeah, it's an everyday battle, because first we battling trying to put food on the table. And that's a battle in itself. Then my mom's battling, where can we get our job from? Where's the next job coming from? But you got to have all these criterias. And then another thing we was battling the system, which the system took us a number of different times from our mom. And they told us, oh, you don't got proper housing. Well, yeah, we know that. You don't got, you need a job. Yeah, we know that. We've been applying to every job, my mom's, and they had turned us down because we don't stay in the area, or it's some type of problem on there that they find, and they said it's our fault. And so they do all these things, and it was an everyday struggle, constant struggle with the system and with how everything was ran, and that we try to go, change our life around, and we get denied at every single corner while still trying to put food on the table. And then we wonder why people out here sometimes, it's no excuse for it, do bad things. Sometimes they backed into a corner like they was backing us into a corner. But my mom always told me, if you get backed into a corner, don't do nothing rash. You know what I'm saying? You always keep your head, your wits about you, make sure you're thinking clearly, and try to find a way out. And you try to find a way out. But we was battling on all fronts, and the system was keeping us from achieving our goals that we wanted to achieve. It means getting housing, staying together as a family. What the system did to us was breaking us apart. And then I used to go to the courtroom every day, and they was to tell my moms, well, you need a house. Well, how are we gonna get a house? You need a house with 6 bedrooms. What? That just don't make no sense. And they made it difficult for us to recover. And the fact that any living situation that was assisted by programs, it was short-term stay.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't find a job in that short-term stay, guess what? You back on the street. And that was the reality of it.
You don't have maybe the one thing you need most of all, including a roof over your head, the time to be able to do the things you need to do to transition.
Yes, these are high pressure, high stress situations. For a family, especially us, we was in a lot of situations, and then you got people out there, and I used to hang with a lot of people in Oakland, a lot of people. People used to come up to me, yeah, we can get you out your situation. You can make some money from your mom. I was like, how can I do that? Well, you can work for us. I was like, a job? And that's what I'm thinking, like, okay, cool. I want to get a job to help bring food to the table for my moms and my family. But the job they was talking about, and these are the demons you got to fight, the job they was talking about was selling drugs on the corner. But my mom always told me, like, look, you don't have to do that. It's always going to be a way out. But you got to know right from wrong because you don't want to get caught up in the system. And I always knew right from wrong, and I always said no. Every corner, no. I said no, no, no. And knowing that I didn't have nothing, and I didn't have nothing to bring home to my moms to put food on the table was disappointing, but it was also encouraging because I kept telling them no.
Your mom's incredible. Man.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I hear you talk about your childhood, and I think maybe you were robbed of your youth in some way, like a lot of kids may be in those situations. How did you retain your youth being a kid, and how important was basketball and the basketball court to that?
Yeah, I was a little different. I was a little bit different. Like I said, my mom always taught me right from wrong. I knew when I was doing wrong, and I knew when I had to change course. Basketball came into play a lot later. When I was growing up in Oakland, I got all my strength from there, my mom's side, but all the things I went through built me up for the moment that was going to come. And I couldn't see it at that time, but going out, having to go to local churches to try to get the bread, the food to help support my family, and going out, just asking people for money and things like that. My family, going to their house asking for money. Some of them, look, I don't know if y'all got family out there, but my family, some of them, they didn't want to give me $25. I'll tell you, they had the nerve to ask for game tickets. Would you give them game tickets? Why would I give y'all game tickets? Y'all wouldn't give me $25 to go play in a basketball tournament. But that's what some of my family was doing. So, and knowing, going through all that really strengthened me up, toughened me up, and just said, you know what, I'm here for a greater purpose, but first we just got to figure out a way how we can get out our situation and make a better life for ourselves.
Yeah. People asking you for tickets and treating you differently, perhaps whether they're family members or strangers.
Yeah.
How do you compare and contrast what it's like when you're in that situation and you're struggling, and then of course you become a celebrated professional athlete and you ride in a championship parade and thousands cheer for you?
Yeah. It's an amazing feeling, but like I said, when I was coming up, all that shaped me.
Yeah.
All that added fuel to the fire. me knowing right from wrong really saved me too as well. And I always knew I was destined for greater purpose, but I didn't know what. And when I look back on it, all the stuff I went through, from homelessness to trying to put food on the table, and remind me, I used to get up every morning. My mom used to work at the flea market. Every single morning, I used to get up, help her set up at the flea market early in the morning, and then come back later on that night to pack up. And we'd sell jewelry, clothes, things like that we got from storage. And that really shaped me. And that really told me a little bit about hard work and perseverance and things like that for stuff that was later to come. And I wouldn't change it, but what I'm here and why I agreed to come up here and explain all this with you guys today is because our system is flawed. And sometimes we need to change the system, or sometimes we need to change the people that's running the system and get some new people in there. You know, some people get fired, right? Y'all good for that? Yeah. Got to change it sometimes. You know, if something don't work, you got to change it, but the system was working against us. And I thought the system was there when I was young. It's supposed to protect you. It's supposed to help young people stay with their family. It's supposed to help them get back on their feet. But when they put a time limit on us everywhere we went to say, you only can stay here 2 months. You only can stay here 3 months. You only can stay here a year. You only can stay here 9 months. And where we going after that with no plan, no execution, none of that? And my mom's was a smart woman. She was a smart woman, and she really had all A's in class. She could do everything, but it's just the circumstances. Like, we need a stable house first, a stable place, and then you can go out to look. But after you need a stable place, what else you need? You need food on the table, right? And so they saying you need to have all this beforehand, and when we in the system, to even go look for a job, to get a job, to be able to provide for your family. And that's the messed up thing about it. And when I was in court, and I'm telling you, I watched everything as a young man. I watched the judges, I watched the people that was around me, the foster people, I watched everybody and how they was moving, and they didn't want us to get back together. And I'm just telling you, they was trying everything they could to keep us separated. And I just see it, and right then in that moment, I knew we got to do something on our own, and I got to make it out to at least have a better sense of how to provide for my own family.
With that as your background, and here we are in Boston, and you've played in other cities too. So you go from Oakland, and all those experiences that inform who you are today.
Yes.
But you also played in other cities, Memphis, Cleveland.
Yes.
We were chatting before we walked into the room about Pine Street Inn and the work they've done and the statistics that Lindia cited a bit earlier. Boston is your home now. What do you love about Boston, this community? And in particular, what have you learned about Pine Street Inn and how important a role it plays in trying to defeat some of those obstacles that you and your family faced?
Yeah, well, Pine Street, man, when I did the tour and everything, we served the dinner. It was great. A lot of amazing people over there. Really loved it, and really loved how they do things over there. One thing that caught my eye was they said the people didn't have to leave if they didn't want to. They said some people don't feel comfortable leaving, and I understood that, very much understood. People ain't feeling comfortable leaving their safe place environment. What they said they built inside is permanent housing inside of their building, and I was like, that is amazing. That is really, truly amazing right there, where you go above and beyond to make people feel comfortable. And that's what I like seeing, and that's what I thought the system was supposed to be doing, which the system didn't do. And Pine Street is doing that right now, and very excited to see where they go in the future too. And now for Boston, for how that shaped me. That was the question.
Yeah, essentially, this community, what separates it from others that you've been in, whether the one you grew up in or other cities you've played and traveled to?
Yeah, Oakland. I love Oakland. That's my city. We just got some challenging circumstances out there right now. Every time I go back, a lot of homelessness, a lot of tents on the street. Nobody's doing nothing. The city gets them to move, but they move and they come right back. There's no long-term plan. And then out here, which I'm seeing is it's a long-term plan. And it really gives you hope when you see companies and organizations like Pine Street, like, not just for me, you know, I'm all right now, but not just for me. I'm talking about others coming up that may be in a similar situation that I was, didn't know how to handle it and don't know how to handle it, and looking for housing, looking for somebody to lend them a hand. And being in Boston, the Boston fans out here and the people is amazing. I'm telling you, they stuck by me through thick and thin. They always appreciated the hard work I put in. If I scored 30 or if I scored 2, but I'm out there hustling, blocking shots, rebounding, I always got a standing ovation, and I always got extra Tommy points all the time. Yeah, extra Tommy points. Y'all. I'll give you a hand clap for that. Rest in peace, Tommy, man. That was my guy, man. I rest his soul too as well, but extra Tommy points. But they've been behind me every step of the way, and the people out here is amazing, and they seem like they have a good plan of where they want to take everything, especially getting people off the streets and into more permanent housing, and which seems to be the goal out here, and really thankful for that. Really thankful for that.
You mentioned getting to know Pine Street Inn and serving dinner last night. What did you make of the spirit of Pine Street Inn, the people that were behind that counter, and the people that were helping the individuals coming in, and what they got to take away aside from a warm meal?
Yeah, the spirit was real good in there. It was the energy. I love the energy. The energy was great. Everybody came in upbeat. How you doing? Really respectful. And that's what it's all about, though. You know, you respect one another. You create an environment that people want to be in, people enjoy being in. And that's what you want to do, especially if you're an organization like Pine Street. You want to create this environment where people feel comfortable and safe. Like I said, when I was coming up, they put us in a place where we wasn't comfortable or safe. Yeah. I had to sleep and try to keep, make sure, I try to sleep, but I didn't sleep. They try to keep my family safe. I slept with one eye open because I didn't know what people was going to, what anybody was going to do, because there was a lot of people in there yelling and doing stuff. So, but this, you create a safe environment, create a good work ethic for people coming in to work, for the workers, people volunteering. It's amazing, and that's what you want to see. You want to see that throughout and continuing, way past my time, and I want to see it throughout everywhere, every city.
I want to ask you about the Celtics in your role very quickly, because it's like so many Boston organizations. The charitable work that the Celtics have done through the years, invaluable. And countless millions raised,
yes.
and the time the players devote, and also I think the thought and perspective the players speak with when they talk about these issues. How proud are you to represent the organization in the community? How important is it to you, based on your experience, that not only are the Celtics vying for another championship, but also that they're doing so much out in the community?
Oh, it's really important. That's one of the reasons I came back. The Celtics is a stand-up organization. It was the first ones to do a lot of things for the league and for their cities. And they've been the pioneers throughout this whole situation, throughout everything. And like I said, first black head coach, first team to draft a black player, and then first team to start all five black starting five. So they've been pioneering for that. Can we get a hand clap for that too? I'm gonna remind you, they did all this when it was unpopular.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, see, when I say that, you can get the gist, like, oh no, yeah, it was unpopular back then, and it was really hard to do that, and it took a lot of courage to do that. But so me working for them and coming back, and it's really a pleasure, because I do a lot of community work all the time, and then I like doing motivational speaking too, because I think the heart is with the kids.
Yeah.
When you bring the kids up the right way and you instill stuff into them to work hard, to don't do nothing bad, but always put your family, yourself, and everything on a higher pedestal, because nobody else will. And you get them to work hard, and you raise them to be outstanding young men and women for their communities and society. And so That's what Boston Celtics do. They always give you that platform. They always go out in the community, building up communities, doing fundraisers, doing charity work, and also, putting on these camps for the kids, and we do all that stuff. The kids have so much fun. I have fun too. I'm like the big kid, so I have a lot of fun, and playing with the kids and everything, and showing them the right way. But our message is still the same. It's always work hard. It's always be a good citizen, and it's always please do good in school, because we got to have that, all three of those lines to line up to make it in this world.
And I'm sure when you talk to those kids, including your mother's, the memory of your mother who you lost a number of years ago,
yes,
is very part of that.
Yes,
part of that message.
Yes, very much. That's very much part of everything that I do. Like I said, my mom worked hard. She did all she can do. And people that came up with me or been around me, my mentors and everything, they always said I was destined for something greater. And my mom told me this too as well. I didn't know what, but they say you destined for something greater. And I'm gonna tell y'all a little quick story that how I figured it out. And it was kind of difficult, but I figured it out. So, quick story. I'm coming home. And I like to tell stories, so y'all bear with me. I'm coming home. My other mentor, I had two mentors. One of them picked me up from high school, and it reminded me, I was just like got into the rankings. I was like ranked top 2 in the country. So I was celebrating that from being ranked nowhere. You couldn't find me ranked in my own neighborhood. So I was number 2 in the country, okay? Coming home, and this is no lie, coming home, I went over the first speed bump. I seen the foster home right there, and I usually don't put my seatbelt on. I usually don't do it at all because I see it, I'm just getting my backpack, getting ready to jump out and go inside the house and do some homework. And first speed bump, I heard a voice in my head that said, put your seatbelt on, just light. I thought I was tripping, I ain't gonna lie. I thought I was crazy. I said, you know what? I asked my mentor, I said, Jay Hill, did you hear a voice? Jay Hill looked at me and said, no, I didn't hear nothing. You all right? I said, I think I am. I'm all right. So I got a half a block to go. One stop sign, one more speed bump. And then the last speed bump, I rolled over, stop sign was here, speed bump here, and I heard the voice loud and clear, put your seatbelt on. So something, I just did a reaction. I don't even know what I did. I grabbed the seatbelt and I went to click it. As soon as it clicked, I looked up and I seen a big old car thing come straight through my windshield. It was smacked us so hard, we was spinning, and I seen it, I couldn't remember, but I know my head went to the windshield and it damn near almost touched it. And then the seatbelt yanked me back, but I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was hit. My mentor was like, you okay? Is anything wrong with you? I was checking, I'm touching myself. I said, nothing wrong. And he got out the car talking to the dude. And then I happened to look down at that seatbelt. That seatbelt came off the hinges, but it just held on for dear life. Had an inch to go, and it held me, and it got me back into the seat safely, got me back at the house. And that's when I looked up, I said, thank you, God, because I know I'm destined for something greater. And I'm here with y'all today.
That's awesome. Leon, thanks so much.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you, everyone.